Welcome to episode 24 of the Cousin Couch. You may notice that I am alone on the couch today. I think I forgot to start the camera. Damn it. No, just kidding. We're good. All right. Welcome back to the Cousin Couch, episode 24. You may notice I'm alone today, and that is because Gage quit the podcast, unfortunately. So we're unsure of what to do now. So thoughts and prayers going out to Gage. But for reals, he's just sick. So was sick on Friday night when we normally record, and then was still sick Sunday. So I still wanted to put something out though, just to, keep up with the weekly cadence. So it will be late though. Sorry about that. You'll probably see this maybe sometime Tuesday afternoon. But at least you get a little something and you know what's going on. Hopefully it's entertaining. Before me and Gage started doing the podcast, I thought, what if I just started like a solo podcast? I've seen some people soloing it out there, just doing their own thing by themselves, talking into the microphone. And I recorded a couple episodes, and it just, every time I just couldn't bring myself to post it. It just felt too dumb. And it was also for my music channel. I was trying to like promote music, do sort of like let me talk to the camera about music for a little bit. And I just felt too self-conscious about it. So splitting the self-conscious, load with Gage helped in releasing a couple episodes. Now it just wasn't me being the idiot. So there you go. I'm also wearing sunglasses because if I wasn't, I would just look like a blind guy with a lazy eye. I would never be looking at the camera, never be engaged. I would be looking all over the place basically. So hopefully, even though I'm looking around, it looks like I'm talking to you still. I think it'll help to be more engaging. So here we are, together alone on the couch. I took a survey about, I'm not even going to use my notes. I'm just going to go off the dome. I took a survey about garments and their comfortability, I guess you could say. I don't know why I was selected. It must have been truly a random poll to get my opinion on it. But, I said what everyone's thinking. They're kind of uncomfortable, maybe a little too long. I would love a little bit shorter shorts ones because, look at this. You got to just pray that your garments ride up with your shorts if you're wearing them. But, people everywhere, it's sticking out of their collars, it's sticking out of their sleeves, it's sticking out of the bottom of their shorts. It's like, can we get a little bit shorter garments? Come on. Also, they just get so hot during summer. We live in the desert, Could we get some thinner ones? Make it like a half-ply shirt, And then, business idea for the church, sell half-ply regular t-shirts to wear over that. And then that way you've got basically a one-ply shirt on, but you're wearing both layers. You know what I'm saying? That could be a good idea, I think. And it would bring in extra money because now when people go to buy their garments, they're buying the regular tops and a shirt to go over it that's half ply. Sales would boom during the summer for sure on those half ply shirts. Something to think about. Send that to church headquarters. But yeah, overall garments are just kind of, So I almost feel like if you don't wear your garments, you'll remember your covenants better because you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm not wearing my garments. What about my covenants? So whatever it takes to get you to remember your covenants, do it. We can move on from that topic though. So you know what? I might have to use my notes actually. You know what's crazy? This was something I was thinking about earlier this week. There was a paper mill in Port Townsend. I lived there for a little bit, a couple months. And it's like every time you enter Port Townsend, you drive sort of on the outskirts of this paper mill, but you can smell the smell of a paper mill, which I don't know. I mean, people say it smells bad, and I can see why people would say it smells bad. But to me, it just reminded me of the smell of kimchi. And so my mouth would just water every time we drove past this paper mill. And my companion, it was on my mission, he would be like, oh my gosh, this is gross. Make sure we roll the windows up. Let's turn off the air for a minute. Just try and mitigate how much of this comes into the car. And I was just thinking about, some kimchi fried rice. Yummy meal. My mouth literally watered, salivated at the smell of this paper mill. It was insane. I don't know why. Well, it was because of the kimchi smell, but it was just crazy that I had such like a physical response. Like, oh my gosh, is there a Korean restaurant up here? So, some food for thought, I guess. I was also, this episode, this episode will probably suck. Just, there's no one to bounce my ideas off of, which I am very quickly realizing might not be entertaining to listen to. But now that I've started, I feel like I have to finish just to like prove something to myself. Which really, this is what this whole podcast is about, I guess. Just proving that we can do something and learn new skills. And hopefully people come along for the ride, So we'll see. I mean, if it does become kind of a popular episode, maybe I'll do more on Patreon or something. Or, just plan for one every time Gage is sick. Just solo it. Just free ball it by myself over here. What else? I said I was going to look at my notes, but now I'm not even going off of them. One thing I wrote down, and I don't think this is great, but Rivians, the truck. Every time I see the headlights, or, the SUV as well, it just looks like two giant USB-C ports to me. And I can't get that out of my head. I just imagine, every time I see one, I imagine just plugging in just this huge USB-C right into the front of it, both sides. It'd be awesome if that's how you could charge your car, just a giant USB-C on the Rivians. Just standardize it to USB-C. It'd be a bigger USB-C for sure, but can you imagine also having just two USB-Cs sticking out of the wall in your garage, and then you just have to like pull in perfectly and just click right into it to charge your car? That would be crazy. That'd be awesome. We'd have a lot better drivers out there on the road if you could do that. So yeah. I'm also been... it's been a good week for me, I think. I feel like I am just going with the flow for the most part. I haven't given any updates on my anxiousness, I guess, which I hate talking about, but I guess it is good to get out there and put it in the real world. Then it has, then it can just get out of just my mind where it normally dwells. But for the most part, I've been pretty okay. It's not something that like registers consciously though. I'm not always like, oh my gosh, I'm super anxious right now, which is something I've been working on, and that's been helping me kind of notice, all right, this is sort of drumming up from the depths of my consciousness. It's time to bring it back down. It doesn't need to be up here, So just trying to be more self-aware has really helped. And, just taking little breaks throughout the day, The kids are freaking out, but I have to use the bathroom. Awesome. I'm going to just stand in there for an extra minute or two, do a couple deep breaths, and then come back out. We're getting in the car. It's a hassle to get everyone in the car. I'm getting stressed about it. Once everyone's in the car and buckled, don't just go in and sit down, take a break. Relax for a second. When we're playing, even when, or, something at work comes up, it's like, just step away. No one's gonna care that I stepped away for 2 minutes just to breathe a little bit, to look outside, to get some vitamin D, It's not a big deal. So taking just minuscule breaks over the course of the day has been good, I think. And it's been better, I think, than taking like huge breaks, 30-minute breaks, trying to get 30-minute breaks in. Because you can't, as soon as I leave work, I work from home. It's like I step outside the room and then it's like, boom, family. Now I'm taking care of family. Now kids are running around. Now someone needs a diaper changed or some food, or we spilled something. We got to clean it up, So it's not like I can just totally remove myself from everything. And, you know, even when I do take, you know, when I am able to get away from work and the family, it's like I'm just doing the grocery shopping by myself. Like I'm still operating some task. And, you know, grocery shopping alone is amazing. You know, that is a break in all seriousness. But when you can't do a big task like that takes a lot of time all by yourself, just step away for 5 minutes, you know, in between things. To those with kids or just, you know, stressful jobs or whatever, that's my advice to you. Try and look for the little breaks and not just like a big one at the end of the day. It'll help you feel more rested. What else is going on? Man, you know, Gage would normally have something to say by now. I probably can't do a full hour by myself. And to be honest, most people are probably tuned out by now. We'll probably have a very low watch through rate on this one, but that's okay. You know, one thing I was thinking about is, so it got me thinking about like at what point, you know, does furthering yourself into anything, you know, at what point is there sort of like a trade-off between work put in versus rewards gotten? And it's like, where do you find that balance? Because obviously you don't want to overwork yourself for like the minutest little increase in product or revenue or, you know, skill, whatever you're trying to improve, right? In my opinion, unless you really love the thing, I guess. There's a yin and yang to everything. Everyone's different, whatever. Maybe you want to just hone your craft to the next possible nth degree. But it's like, I don't really care to be honest, you know? Unless it's like bonding with my family, that I wouldn't mind, you know, increasing tiny amounts for, or writing music and stuff. I think that's fun, and I wouldn't mind getting better incrementally at and putting in work to be better at that. But it's like making money, like, I don't know if it's really worth like the stress at work. You know, I see my boss, she's sending emails on Saturdays and Sundays when she's traveling. She's taken one vacation since the time I've been hired, and it's like, at that time, she didn't email, didn't text, didn't do anything, you know? And it's like, in my position, I can show up at 8, leave at 5. Everything's good 99.9% of the time. And it's like, why would I, for, you know, only like $300 more a paycheck, go into that position? And it's time away from family, it's more stress, it's more work, it's more this, it's more that, you know? And it's like, is that worth it? To some people it is. I don't know if I really care to do that though. You know, the extra work, stress. I don't care about the title. I don't care if I'm like a manager or director or vice president, whatever. You know, that's never really been something I've been super interested in, I guess. Some people are, that's fine. If you want to trade away, you know, things to attain that, then hopefully that's the thing that you actually want in life, you know, because you're not going to be able to get that time back that you spent working on that. So there you go. I mean, find the balance in your life. And I think it's good to be self-reflective and think about what you actually want. Because sometimes, you know, I feel like as I've grown up, it's been like okay, what does my family want me to do? You know, when I was really young, are my parents going to get mad at me if I do this? And I sort of base my worldview around, okay, how can I live in the constraints of the rules my parents have set forth? And then as you get into like high school and college, it's more like, okay, my social circle is now sort of dictating what I do. What do my friends expect of me? How can I live up to their expectations? And hopefully, I think you outgrow that eventually, and then you sort of set your own rules and develop your own sort of way of life, and you can dictate what you're doing on your own. And I don't know if, you know, everyone really does that, because I see people at work that are still sort of in that social mindset. It's like now work, instead of their friends at college or high school, it's now like their peers at work sort of dictate what you do. And it's like, if they're all money driven, power and status, it's like, if you just let yourself be thrown into the wind, it's like, that's now what you become as well. And I don't know. So I get worried sometimes that I'm not in full control of my life and I am just being kind of pushed around by whatever wind happened to blows on me. And I'm not like standing firm in my own beliefs and truths. So I just hope I hope I can be self-aware enough to continue down a path that I actually want to be down and not just one that I'm being led down, which is why, to take that sort of philosophy and bring into a more mild, not as life-altering subject, that's why I've been fighting the algorithm with YouTube and Spotify. And like, I don't want to just be fed the music that other people are being fed. I want to find something that I think it is unique and that wouldn't normally be presented to me necessarily. So, going to the second page of YouTube results to see a video on a subject I'm interested in, something with less than, 50,000 views or even 10,000 views. Finding music with people that have less than 10,000 listeners a month or something, It does take work to get there because those things won't be handed to you necessarily just by the internet, but it is easier than ever to find small creators and small artists and stuff. Somehow people found our podcast, so if you're I guess that's the intentionality behind it. I intended to watch this, so I found it and watched it, and not just I got online and consumed what was given to me. I don't know. Hopefully that resonates with people. I don't know if it necessarily does. I mean, I think it would. I think everyone's trying to be more authentic. I don't think anyone recognizes that they're being unauthentic to themselves and then continues to do it intentionally. It might just be, just a habit. You've done it for so long, so you keep doing it, and it's just a hard habit to break. So challenge yourself this week. Do something intentional, whatever it is. Even if it's just like a meditation or you pick up a book. I don't know. Do what you want with your life. I don't care, to be honest. Just as long as, you're not hurting other people. Just do your own thing. That's all you can do, really. Just be nice and do your own thing. What else? This. I'm up to like about 20 minutes, so that's not bad. It's just spitting thoughts out, Hopefully it's been interesting. That's something to talk about. I get self-conscious sometimes about the podcast. Like, gosh, was this even entertaining? Gage hates it when I bring that up. So this is the perfect safe space for me to get it out of my system. But sometimes we'll record an episode and I'll be like, gosh, I don't know if that was the best I could have done. And it's like, who cares? At some point we have to put something out, If we let that stop us from releasing episode 1, which Gage is always like, episode 1 was my worst performance. I was shy. I was timid. It was not like, it didn't feel natural to me. But then we listen back to it and it's fine, It's not like a bad episode. So don't let it stop you from doing things, but also it's that yin and yang again. You have to cut out those doubts and do the thing, but then not let that also stop you from refining it. If that makes any sense. I know I'm kind of just rambling, unchecked, which, it is what it is, We're here and we're not going away too soon. So I don't know what that means. I just said it, which is half the podcast. I mean, 99% of the podcast, really. It's just us, I'll prepare, a few talking points throughout the week and hopefully have a joke associated with it or like a funny direction to go with it. But for the most part, it's just, let's just talk about what we want to talk about and see where it takes us. Something else I was thinking about is putting that you're an Eagle Scout on your resume. I don't think it does anything unless your hiring person is from Utah, and let me give some context here. Um, the Mormon Church, for those that aren't LDS who are listening, which might be someone, I don't know, they were really big into Boy Scouts of America, at least while I was a youth. So everyone was, part of Boy Scouts. And a lot of the leaders would be like really pushing you to get your Eagle Scout because it will help you stand out later in life. It'll look great on your resume. It'll help you with college applications. The big thing though that my scout leaders push was like, if you put it on your work resume, it'll help you get jobs. Like that's not something that everyone does. But in reality, it's like a youth club that you just got like the biggest merit badge on, it doesn't. I don't in a workforce setting, I don't think it means much. In terms of personal achievement, it might mean a lot, and you do learn a lot of cool things in scouts. I'm not saying it's not beneficial to get an Eagle Scout, but I think getting it for the purpose of putting it on your resume so you can get a job is the dumbest reason to get an Eagle Scout rank. Because I don't think anyone cares really outside of Utah, unless they were just randomly really big into Boy Scouts. But it's like nowadays, I feel like the recruiters out there, I feel like statistically, a lot of them probably weren't part of BSA. And it's just kind of like I was in National Honor Society in high school, which, what does that even mean? I can't even remember how I got in. I think I filled out an application and you had to have like a certain like GPA average. But it's like we did one service project, I think. I participated in one service project in National Honor Society across like the 2, maybe 3 years I was part of it. And so it's like, it doesn't really mean anything. I got a pin and a different colored cord at graduation, but like it didn't make me a better person necessarily. I think for some kids it might have. I think there was like the leaders, like the president or whatever, was planning more stuff to do in the community, and then all the people just sort of in the club were like could participate if they wanted to. So I'm sure other kids got more out of it, but I was just kind of like, whatever. This is just to appease counselors, parents, whatever, just so I can put it on my college application and maybe get into a better school. So, I guess going it back to the intentionality thing, maybe I'm so focused on it now is because I kind of wasn't back then. I was just kind of go with the flow, just get my homework done, go to school, do these other tasks that other people expect of me, and then, I can listen to music, play some video games on the weekend and stuff, hang out with my friends or whatever. So, maybe that's really the only reason I'm sort of really interested in it right now. It's because I wasn't before. I don't know. I don't need to psychoanalyze that. I think I'm just interested in it, and that's just end of story. I could be not interested in being super intentional about things like that tomorrow, and it's not like it's on the forefront of my mind every second of the day. It just happened to come up right now, so now I'm talking about it. So whatever. But yeah. So if you're in Boy Scouts, get your Eagle Scout, get the cool badge, have the cool ceremony, do a cool project. Don't expect it to get you a job though, especially in this job market. No one definitely cares. And AI can teach you everything you learned being a Boy Scout. So, does it even matter? Anyways, because AI is going to take everyone's job soon. What are we going to do when that happens? Will we actually have total freedom and happiness at that point? Will it be like a Garden of Eden type scenario if AI is doing everything for us? All the food creation and making and distributing, and what would our lives even be? I don't know. It's hard to imagine what we'd even be doing. Like, would there be work for us? I don't know. I honestly don't think AI will take over everything. Especially right now, because, if you look at it doing coding stuff, like, yeah, I can spit out some pretty cool stuff, but there's always glitches and bugs. Like, have have it code a Pong game for you, right? If you don't know anything about code, go into ChatGPT and ask it to make code you Pong. Just the ball going back and forth, the little paddles on with the controls, right? There's going to be glitches and bugs. I've done it, and you have to fix it. It's not just going to spit out picture perfect for your scenario, the perfect code that you need, And especially with like business applications, it's like they're using different products. You might have Salesforce CRM, but then you have this other like work management tool and you're trying to code like to integrate them. That's like a custom thing that AI won't be able to do, I think for smaller tasks like copywriting, it still like you would probably still want someone to check that, And even if it can spit out the perfect copy, like it's not going to spit it out and then put it on your website and then publish it and then check for errors and then update it when you need it to. And so it's like if we remove all these people, it's like all these like check mark or like quality assurance steps just kind of get thrown away. If you just have one person basically doing all the jobs, if ChatGPT is running everything, it's going to make a mistake at some point, and then you have no one checking the thousands of pages it's just spitting out for you if you're using it like that. So I think initially, right now people are being laid off because of AI. I think there'll be rehires because of AI in maybe a couple years. Unless they figure out how to make it just perfect and then it just actually does do everything by itself. And then in that case, we're all screwed. I don't know what to do. Start a garden at home, I do think though, if we all just stopped working all of a sudden, it wouldn't be good for us. We were kicked out of the Garden of Eden for a reason. And it wasn't just because of the fruit being eaten. I think there's a bigger concept behind that. Like humans weren't designed to live in the Garden of Eden. They were designed for this world where we're like ants. We have to do something. We have to fulfill a purpose. And I think most of us are kind of, we're not super intentional about it. I know I'm not. Why do I work the job that I do? It's not super like meaningful to me necessarily. The paycheck is for sure. The health insurance is. But like the actual work, sending emails to people about financial products, it's like I could, be doing something that is a little bit more meaningful, I think, in the world. Not to say that I'm going to like quit my job or anything. Like I enjoy it. I enjoy working from home and getting a paycheck to pay rent. But it's it's not like if I lost my job, I wouldn't like be devastated. The only thing that would devastate me is the lack of a paycheck coming in. But I could find another job. And I don't have enough pride to like feel bad about flipping burgers. Like if I had to go work at McDonald's, like I'd be the best burger flipper there, dude. It's not an issue. I mean, the amount of money coming in might be a little bit of an issue. I don't think they pay amazingly well, but I could do it if I had to, and I would do it. And you just find a way. So yeah, Halloween is coming up. I don't have any. Well, my wife has plans for costumes and such. I'm not sure what exactly we'll do though. Hopefully it's nothing crazy, because some costumes are just uncomfortable to wear. I just like to be comfortable during Halloween and just every day in general, to be honest. Other exciting news, I'll probably bring this up again when Gage is here, but we bought a minivan, me and my wife. It's awesome. I think it's the coolest thing ever, literally. There's just so much space, for people and cargo. It's luxurious. I don't really want to say the make and model. I feel like, I should limit some of the personal details I put out there. I don't need anyone finding me. But I mean, if I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole looking up online, like how people find people online, and if you've posted a picture on Facebook, like people can find you. Like it's not hard. So we're all screwed basically if, you tick off some random person online and they want to find your street address. Surprisingly easy. So that's got me thinking about, my internet safety. I mean, I don't think this podcast would cause any issues because it's mostly just family that listens to it anyway. But, it is interesting how much of like a internet footprint you have, even if you don't think you have one. It's like, it's just all out there. It's all data and someone's collecting all of it and profiting off of it, which is also interesting. It's like, cut me some of those dollars, dude. I'm the one giving you the data. It makes me wonder, like, how could I, like with that NAS project I was talking about beforehand, trying to build my own cloud storage. I was like, I want to get away from Google and Apple having to pay them to like store my data. Basically, it's like, how can I take that to the next level and like just not use Google at all, or like not use, just like protect my privacy, I guess, more. Not that I have anything to hide necessarily, but it's like if a stranger tells you personal information, you'd be a little bit like, dude, how do you know that? And so it's like, if I wouldn't want a stranger telling me back to my face some piece of information about my life, I won't say it on the podcast. But it's like, you can find it in other ways, probably, going into the back end of things. So how do you be more secure online? I don't know. Maybe use a VPN, but then again, like, what about the VPN company? What if in 10 years there's a new CEO and he's corrupt and he starts selling a little bit of data on the side? You know what I mean? I think I'm sure there's people out there that are totally self-sufficient internet-wise, like they provide their own stuff at every level. And so if you wanted to steal their data, you literally have to like go to their house and like get on their network somehow. That's obviously probably not feasible for everyone. And so at some point you just have to accept the risk, and I mean, no one's really, like, if you ask people in your neighborhood how much of your data has been stolen, one, you probably don't know. And two, it's probably not really affecting your data, like day-to-day life, even if your data has been leaked. It's not to the point where like people are taking out loans in your name or like, impersonating you to like buy a house. I mean, I don't think that's happening all the time, but so does it even matter? I don't know. Yin and yang again. Oh my God, I can't say again after I say yin and yang. It's always again. Yin and yang again. It's the yin and yang again. There's a balance in all things, and you just gotta find what works for you. I think not paying Google for storage is a good first step for me, and I'll figure out that project. Just not right now, because we did just buy a car, and it's kind of pricey, and then there's the insurance, and so it's like, it's just annoying. I just hate spending money on stuff. I don't like to spend money on stuff. I'm very sort of Ebenezer Scrooge in that regard. It's like, I'd rather hoard it in my bank account and let it just sit there and compile, than spend it on stuff, But we needed to upgrade the car at some point, so it is what it is. I'm getting a lot of phone calls, it looks like, probably in relation to this new vehicle purchase. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here so I can answer some of them. And yeah, hopefully you've had a great week. Try and find positive things in your life. Be more intentional about your life if that's what you want to do. Have a great week. We'll see you next week for the Cousin Couch. Gage will most definitely be back, and it'll be a good time. So thanks for tuning in if you did.